Tyler Flowers, Atlanta Braves, and the co-owner of Force 3.
Yep.
I'm really happy to see how well it's been doing for you guys. I'd love to hear just, it's been a few years since we talked about it. Tell me, how's it been going in the major leagues and how's it been going in the amateur leagues for Force 3?
Everything's really, it's really been booming for us in a good way, to the point where we're trying to keep up with the demand, which is a good problem. So we ended up, we've got Yasmani Grandal. He's part owner of the company as well now.
Great.
And then we finished up last year, I believe, with 27 big league catchers wearing our mask. And,
27.
I think a number of umpires, I think 12, 13, something like that. But yeah, we really made some good strides. I think part of it is, doing things like this, getting the information out there that there is some safer alternatives for some of these guys that have these issues or are concerned about, having some sort of head issue.
Yeah, and just for anybody who's not familiar with the Force 3 mask, which has kind of a shock suspension system on it.
Yeah.
Just want to rehash that.
I kind of think of it as like an outer mask and an inner mask. So the outer mask, you could say is a normal two-piece mask, but on ours it's kind of the outer part that's exposed to the balls coming, which is then connected with these double sets of springs in 3 different locations.
Yep.
Which then connects to the pads, which is on your face and touching your forehead on the helmet and all. So the impact is to the outer mask, which then the springs absorb the majority of that.
Can you lift it just
kind of lessens everything that you feel. So from all the testing we've gone through at all these independent labs, it's roughly 50%. So 100 feels like 50.
Wow.
Which is great, especially at the level I'm at, because everybody seemingly throws 100 nowadays. So anything to reduce that is welcomed.
And Max Stassi is a big fan of it for the Astros, and he was telling me that Brian McCann sold him on it. Brian McCann basically said to him, "If you're not using this, you're stupid." Yeah,
and that was one of the first things Mac told me when we got down here too, that just how much he loved it. It wasn't like, "Hey man, how you doing? I hadn't seen you in a while." He's like, "Man, that mask is just awesome." And he had a concussion issue, and he called me, and we sent him a couple, and he loved them. And he told me the other day he'd never catch another game without it. And I think everybody feels that way once you give it a shot. Once you take an impact where it should have rang your bell pretty good, and you walk away from it feeling just fine. That's the kind of difference this thing makes.
Yeah, and baseball players are. We like to talk about our gear. I mean, I walk around these clubhouses and the dugouts, and I can't tell you how often and how high of a percentage of the conversations are about gear and about. So it's not surprising to me that some guys, they had good experience early on, and now it has just like swept through the league. Has that been something that you've seen in the amateur leagues too? Have you been selling a lot of masks to the younger players?
Yeah, we have a lot of involvement with different leagues and organizations out there, the Babe Ruth League, Cal Ripken, and a number of other ones. And I think those are kind of the areas we're trying to get into, because those guys are real serious about playing baseball, and most of them nowadays are playing it year-round. But again, getting the information out there, letting them know that there is something else out there that can keep them more safe, that's really helped our growth. And I think more for us, it's about getting the young people, the parents of young people, showing them that their kid can play catcher, and you can eliminate these concerns, with this product on your kid's head, and feel good about them playing catcher, because unfortunately a lot of people aren't catching now for fear of that at a young age.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I don't think, when I was a kid, I don't think we knew as much about it, but I think if I was a kid now, I mean, most definitely my parents would have that concern. So, it's amazing that there is an option out there, and especially from a guy who is putting the mask on. Some of these companies who make the products, they may not be actually using them at their peak performance. Like you said, guys throwing 100 miles an hour. If you can stand behind this thing, literally, and support the fact that it's working, probably goes a long way.
Yeah, and I think the best part is there's, like I said, I believe it was 27 other guys wearing it last year, and with no affiliation with the company, and they tell you the same thing. So that's a great thing for the product and for our company, but also a great thing for people. You can hear it from people that have nothing vested in it besides their own safety and their own concerns, and I think the majority of them are going to feel just as passionate about it as I do.
And just from a business perspective, maybe off the, baseball is one thing, but have you been approached by any companies, any of the larger companies about that technology? Has there been any kind of conversations with anybody seeing it?
Yeah, we've had a fair bit. We've had a number of, I guess call them mainstream companies approach us, and some of that's still ongoing.
Cool. Great.
Some of them with different interests than others. But that's something, we're open to exploring, and we're currently exploring, and
that's great.
Just trying to, if we end up doing anything, we just got to make sure it's the right fit for both parties, and then also for providing the product to the public.
Yeah, because like I said, as a businessman and not a baseball player, you should want to see that on every mask if people want it, and so it's good to hear that. I kind of assumed it, honestly, that other companies would be interested.
Yeah, we've had a number of it, but it's great. Like, I think last year, College World Series, the home plate umpire was wearing it. It's awesome. Little League World Series, one of the home plate umpires was wearing it. So it's like, that guy's got no reason to wear it besides wanting to be as safe as possible, to be out there and umpire and have fun. And so it's great seeing that people are hearing about it. They are taking their own initiative to make sure they're safe.
Now, looking forward, do you have any? Are you guys still doing research? Are you pretty confident in that design? Is there anything like going forward that you might be offering?
Right now, it took so long for them to get it dialed in exactly how we got it. And we messed with weights and different alloys and metals, and again, even down to the pads. I think they went through 15 different sets of padding on it, which all that has to work together as a unit. So all the testing that it went through, this was the best setup for it. So there's not, at the moment, there's not a whole lot that we need to change. We did make some adjustments to our hockey style, where we added an additional bar that comes in front across the forehead. We kind of had this idea before, but Yachty, I remember seeing him, I believe it was last year, he ended up taking two, like just above the top bar on his mask, but in the helmet part of it, so like in the forehead. And I think the second one got him pretty good, and he ended up coming out, and that really solidified it for us. That I think there is a need for something like that too. And San Diego, that Hedges wears it, Rafi Lopez, he wears the same one. Alfaro wears it some.
Have they been getting good? You've been getting good feedback on those as well?
Yeah, it's been great with those. I think it's just, again, another option with a little more safety in it. Still the same spring assemblies. Performs the same as the traditional two-piece that I wear. Just a hockey option, So hopefully that's something that will continue to trickle down to high schools, because they're required to wear the hockey version.
Really?
Yeah, and
I wonder why.
Can't wear a two-piece. I think most of it is fear of backswings, because with the two-piece, you're a little more exposed in these areas with backswings.
Okay.
Although personally, I've never taken a backswing in my life there.
Yeah, you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen one either, but I understand, the concern, I guess. I think in reality, it's not as much of a concern as they make it out to be. But again, we make the hockey version, so again, there's another alternative. So hopefully we can continue to get the information out there and, again, protect the youth, get some of these high school guys catching again and knowing that there is a better option with the hockey mask as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of like the idea of the two-piece because of the fact that it breaks off, that it separates from your head. If I was a catcher, I think I'd probably be rocking the two-piece.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, like I said, high school, that they're forced to wear the hockey, so I think a lot of people just get comfortable with it, so they continue to wear it. There is the ease of putting it on. The hockey, you can just fling it over your head and put it on, whereas this, at least, for me, I use both hands.
Right.
Some guys are good enough to swing it with one and get it on right. I don't trust myself, so I always make sure that I got it sitting how I want it. So I think that's probably part of that trend, why it's it's probably more 50-50 now, traditional versus hockey, at least to my knowledge.
So I had Max Stassi talked to me about the weight of it. He said that the weight had something to do with it too, that like other masks were too light. So that, you said, went into, that was part of the whole kind
Yeah,
of makeup of the thing.
You know, and
It's a little heavy.
unfortunately, that's, you know, some people's hesitations at times, especially if you transition from a titanium, like the Nike titanium that's just super light.
Yeah.
You know, I would say you're one bullpen session from making the adjustment. But for me, I didn't notice the difference in weight really. And I want this thing to stay on me. So when I'm hit, I want it to stay on so the springs can do what they're supposed to do. So I keep it a little snug. And I suppose that could help lessen the weight, you know, wearing it a little tighter, that everything is, you know, right there as one unit instead of feeling a separate thing hanging on you. I just strap it down a little tighter, and again, I think 2 ounces is a great trade-off for what this product can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you almost assume lighter is better, but I was interested when Max told me that actually weight can help.
Yeah.
And it helps to kind of absorb the blow.
Yeah.
How about your batting gloves? Are you still designing everything?
Yeah, so I do the design of everything we make. So what we sell to the public, what I wear, what Grandal wears, his gloves.
Stuff looks pretty good.
His gloves, his gear.
He trusts you with that.
Yeah, well, I get him to sign off on it, you know,
Yeah.
but I usually show him my ideas for myself, see which ones he's liking, and then kind of convert it to his colors. So we had to do it on the fly this year, you know, since he was a free agent.
Yep.
Kind of snuck up quickly, jumped on with the Brewers, so we had to quickly get him rolling there at the factory. But yeah, he usually likes all the designs and stuff I have.
What do the batting gloves look like this year? I think you got one hanging
This is
on.
a newer one, yeah.
Yeah, it's
this is the catcher version one, so it's a little pad in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wear a padded one underneath my mitt. Again, we utilize Kevlar in there, so this is a little memory foam Kevlar. Yeah, so all of our gear, pads, my chest protector, the insides of my shin guard, it's all different types of Kevlar. So we're partners with the company Unequal.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen before guys with like green foam inside their helmets.
Absolutely.
Which I wear. That's Kevlar.
Okay.
Which does a great job reducing impact as well. So my chest protector is all different types of Kevlar. My shin guards inside are all different Kevlar. These pads are different types of Kevlar in there. So it all kind of plays a role.
You guys are legitimate warriors back there.
We try to be, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I saw there was something. I'm not sure if it was in your glove. It was this like PVC pipe looking thing.
Mac wears that. It's common. Catchers, a lot of catchers like to wear that little thumb guard, you'd call it. So it's some sort of plastic
it's like a hard
type
plastic
thing.
that like molds.
You can
to
warm
your
it
hand.
up and you can shape it differently.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't blame them for wearing it. You know, nowadays guys throw 100 with sink and cut, and sometimes they're not even sure what it's doing. So that's just another little piece that I guess makes Mac a little more comfortable.
Yeah, especially when you're catching like 4 or 5 different guys a game, and one of them's coming in for one batter and throwing 98. That's like diving off the table.
It's like transitioning from catching Dickey knuckleball to, you know, having Vizcaíno come in throwing 100-mile-an-hour sinkers.
And the idea is that they don't want the hitter to be able to catch it with the bat, so it's not going to be easy for you to catch it with the glove either.
It's a challenge. I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges I think of catching is catching the ball, and it sounds kind of silly, but it is. And I think it's just going to continue to become more and more challenging as guys are trying to throw the ball harder with more action and everything. That is a challenge, you know. I think sometimes we make it look easy, and I think the normal fan kind of takes it for granted whenever we do miss one, it gets by us. It's like, oh, come on.
Right.
I promise when you're sitting on this end of it, squatted down, it's an entirely different perspective than what it is on TV.